In today's video, I'm going to talk about two methods that I use to remove the electronic parking brake in order to replace my rear brake pads without putting the car into brake service mode. I want to be clear that I'm not a professional mechanic, so if you do anything from my videos, it's at your own risk. I recently changed the brake pads on my 2019 Hyundai Kona Electric. So I did not have a two-way communicator OBD2 scanner. I do have a little Bluetooth one, but you need a two-directional one to be able to put into brake service mode. So here's basically what I did when I was doing that. This is all assuming that you actually know what to do to replace brake pads, or at least to do your own brake maintenance, right? And so C-clamp, compress the piston. I got the new pads on this side. I did the other side, go back in the car, and the dash was all just Christmas lights. All of the things were on. I was pressing the pedal in to try to get the brake fluid to, kind of firm up again in the brakes and stuff. But it was going all the way to the floor. Somewhat of a bit of a concerning feeling, right? Oh yeah, and by the way, I should say that before I started working on the rear ones, I disconnected the negative from my battery. The reason I did this is that I wanted to basically turn off the car's brain so that when these bolts, when the electronic parking brakes were doing something against their will, essentially, I did not want the car's brain to panic and then throw up a bunch more warning lights or all that kind of stuff, right? So we'll get back to that later, right? There's an electronic parking brake, right? And so you really can't get it off in any simple way. But what I ended up doing on the first side, on the electronic parking brake, there are two bolts. This has thread lock on it, as you can see right here. So that stuff will make it so when you try to take it off, you have to apply a lot of force, and it can potentially shear it, which obviously isn't good. So a little bit of thread lock sprayed around the entire area right there, and then on the lower section here, just to see if it would get into there. And I waited about half hour, tapped it a bit, and then a little $40 heat gun, whatever, sprayed the underside, not the top side because that's plastic, but the underside of the caliper is all metal. And then, slowly and gently used a ratchet with the proper attachment, or, you could use an Allen key as well. And sorry, this is just precarious right here, so I'm going to hang on to it. And then I remove this section here from the caliper by pulling straight up, giving it a little bit of a wiggle. And that is how I got it off. And then once you get that off, you could basically put the Allen key in and then rotate, and then that retracts the section that pushes in the electronic parking brake, and which in turn allows you to compress the piston and then take off the brake pads. And of course, the issue with that is that you need to be able to, once the new pads are in, which are thicker, you need to be able to slide the caliper back on, right? And so this side was fine. Once I got to the other side of the vehicle, I tried to do the same thing. Issue is, and I was very shocked at this, that my Allen key kept slipping in the head of the bolt. And so why would the Allen key keep slipping in the head of the bolt if I've never even used it before? All of the edges looked great and nice and crisp and everything. Maybe it was slightly off size. I tried a couple different ones. Tried both metric, and the thing is, metric and imperial, and none of them were perfectly fitting in. None of them were gripping enough. Maybe I put too much heat on the head. I'm not sure. That could be the case though, right? I felt stuck, right? On the electronic parking brake, there is a trick, and I will put the video link in the description, where you can pry off the little connector which is you can't just get it off easily. You have to use a very tiny screwdriver, kind of like get it in, pop it out, pull it out, right? And that exposes the negative and the positive, has the electricity running to basically turn it in and retract it, right? So what I did, I took a little 9-volt battery with a tiny little section of copper wire, just like you would use in the house. And all I did was I put the 2 pieces into that little terminal after I took the plug out. And then I applied the 9-volt battery. I just basically like dabbed the 2 terminals kind of on, just like, just to make sure that it was actually turning, right? Because I didn't want to stress it by overturning and pushing in more, and I wasn't sure which direction I needed to have it, right? And so basically, so I just like slowly until it stopped coming out, right? And so it came out all the way. I was able to do everything I needed to do on the car. I got the new pads on the rear, and then of course I reconnected the battery negative terminal over here, okay? I turned the car on, and like I mentioned before, it was Christmas lights just from the front ones. Turned the car on, not a single light was on. I went to test drive it afterwards. I went to do my braking in the brake pads, where you accelerate quickly to 60 kilometers an hour and brake hard, and then you do that, a few times, handful of times, maybe up to 5. And then I did that again up to 80 kilometers an hour and braking hard. Obviously, do this in a safe area, a road that is very dead, not residential, nothing like that. You just want to, go on an industrial road or a country road or something like that to do those, right? To break your brakes in, right? To break in the brake pads. And that's basically how I did it. I did not have the fancy, $200 ODBII. This is what I did. This is what worked for me. I'm not saying that you should do this. This is just what worked for me. So, do it at your own risk, right? But so just, I hope that helps if anybody's looking to do this. But again, at your own risk. You might just want to get the ODBII, OBD2, and just put it into brake mode. I'm sure it's much easier. And yeah, like I said, you could probably get some for about $200. That'll do that. All right, take care.